We've got breaking news. Bitcoin's legendary blue dot, it just flashed. And this could cause chaos in the crypto and altcoin market. Do we have a huge move on the horizon? We are going to dig into all of the juicy facts. Let's get into it. The altcoin market could be about to explode, but I have good news. If you're on my email list, go there now. I just released a brand new altcoin bonus video. And if you're not on my email list, go now before it's too late. CryptoCrewUniversity.com. It takes 2 seconds and you'll immediately unlock this week's brand new altcoin video. Go now. So here we are on the Bitcoin US dollar index, and today we're on the weekly chart. On the weekly chart, we're going to cover 3 components in today's video. Up top, price action. What we have on the screen with these yellow lines, we need to talk about it. And we definitely need to talk about what's happening with price action right now, because it is at one of the most critical points in its entire history. We need to break that down. Then, middle of our screen, blue dot just flashed. What we talked about weeks ago was like, look, the blue dot disappeared, but it was on the 6-day and it was on the 5-day, and we were looking for a couple things to happen in the charts. I want to give my update on that. Also, bottom of our screen, what we were looking at with this RSI, keep in mind, RSI overbought, oversold. What we were looking at was this quiet period of being below, of having the RSI below this moving average. We pointed it out. We said, hey, look, this was a couple hundred days below here, then breakout. Prior to that, back in 2023, we had a couple hundred days below here and then breakout. We were studying that in the last month or two, and we were looking for one thing and one thing only. We had a couple hundred days of quiet below here, and we were looking for a breakout. What we needed to happen was the formation and price action. That's what I want to start with, and I'm going to give in today's video my thought on this blue dot later in the video, and you don't want to miss that. Let's start with price action. What we had here was a falling wedge, right? What you typically see with a bullish momentous move is you see this swing low here, right? The swing low happened after the pivot high. Before the pivot high was this huge move here. What you typically see after a huge move is the most bullish case is a move into a bull flag. The bull flag will have parallel lines on the top representing resistance and a parallel line to that on the bottom representing support. You'll typically see multiple touch points within that, and then you'll typically see a continuation breakout to the upside. This is similar but slightly different. This is what we covered back a couple months ago. We drew this on our chart and we just said, look, this is similar to a bull flag. It's not as bullish as a bull flag, but it's a bullish continuation move. The lines are not parallel. The lines are converging together, meaning something's got to break, right? It's sort of like a pressure cooker, which we talk a lot about on this channel, where price action was consolidating into a tighter range. Anytime on any time frame you have a move consolidating into a tighter range where there's clear resistance on top and clear support on the bottom and it's tightening, it's a pressure cooker move. It will be more powerful than typical moves simply because of the pressure to the upside and the downside. This happens to be a bullish signal, so we saw a breach, a break upward of that, and at the same time a break of this RSI. These were the 2 things that we were looking at. We said once those happened, because we had the blue dot on the 5-day and because we had the blue dot on the 6-day, we were expecting to see the blue dot within some weeks. Here we are, a few weeks later, the blue dot has arrived. So what does this mean? Does this mean the move is over? Does this mean this move is just starting? Now, once again, towards the end of the video, I'm going to give you my opinion of this blue dot, and you don't want to miss it. But what we've got on our hands, and one of the most important price ranges right now, is this specific area I'm about to draw on the chart. We're going to go to our drawing tools and we're going to click on this trend line here. And we're just going to pop this bad boy right on top of this resistance. Take a look at this resistance area. It's very clear and very simple. It started back here in these weeks of 2024, Christmas time 24 resistance, and it moved into the beginning of 25 resistance. That's what we had back then. And guess what? What we've just done and what we're in the midst of doing right now is building on top of what used to be our resistance. We are trying to build our support at the same time that the market is in sort of limbo, right? Where we're wondering, hey, where is this thing going to go, right? We want to know what's going to happen to Bitcoin. Are we going to explode a lot higher? Is this it? What's going on? Well, you want to look at structure, number one, and you've got clear structure here, right? From this resistance area of 2024 into 2025, we formed this pattern here, right? We had a falling wedge. We had a breakout. We had a breakout up to that exact area back in May 5th, 2025. The week of May 5th, we got back up to that area, that same exact area that haunted us in Christmas time 24 in the beginning of 25. And what we were able to do is have a breakout candle, May 12th, 2025. And then we had a confirmation candle the following week. So we've had a clear breakout and a clear confirmation, and we're working on building support. There is nothing bearish about that. You can't look at the structure and be like, bah, humbug, this is terrible for Bitcoin. This is only good. We had a clear pattern, a clear breakout of said pattern, right? This was the breakout candle. This was the confirmation candle. And then a breach of clear structure from back Christmas time 24. And now we're just building structure directly on top of what used to be our resistance. We couldn't ask for more, right? This is a very healthy move. For those who are like, well, Bitcoin seems to be moving very slow and this is supposed to happen. This is a classic move, okay? This is textbook structure 101. You want to see this. What you wouldn't want to see is just a blow past this area. It will tell you how short-lived it will be, right? A healthy move of building structure that's healthy not only for the short term, but also the long term. Without structure, everything will plummet a lot faster. So we've got that on our side, right? It's clear cut. We got our blue dot. We broke out of this pattern and we broke out of the RSI. All the three things that we were looking at have happened. So now what? What do we do? I want to stress, this is one individual chart. I want to start making a couple more videos, so you better pay close attention. But this is a very important chart, and there are some that are even more important. But this one has a clear story to tell. I want to dig more into this blue dot. What is it? These are the hash ribbons. The hash ribbons, like almost all indicators on your indicator tabs here, will typically have two moving averages, right? And you always want to look at how those moving averages are moving away from each other and towards each other. And those are the key points of movement. You can see when they move towards each other and cross down, it's the start of trouble. It tells us that miners, everybody who's mining Bitcoin, is capitulating. They're giving up. There's problems. There's blood in the streets. You want to look at the miners for key areas of when to enter markets. Okay? When the miners are having trouble, it's probably a good time to enter. Hence this red area. So you get a cross down, this red area starts, and that starts these little bubbles printing, right? And when that line crosses back above, you get this blue dot. Typically, this blue dot is very common in the beginning of bull runs. You typically do not see the blue dots print towards the end of the bull run. Why? It's highly unlikely that miners are giving up anywhere near or at a new all-time high. It's very rare. Like, why would they, right? So that's why. It's very simple, right? you want to use these blue dots mainly in the beginning of, phase one of the bull, bottom of the bull, phase one, phase two, and then you typically see them go away. For example, look at I always say 2017 is the most, if you want to study a market cycle and become an expert, 2017 was just phenomenal. And you can see we had the bottom of our market. This is phase one. Phase two brought the blue dot, and then phase 3, 4, and 5, no blue dot. Where we saw a blue dot, which turned into trouble, was here back in August 21. August 21, we had a blue dot print after the first top. Keep in mind, first top was here, not up for debate. We had a move down. Then we had a second leg up, which was a huge curveball because it was just a double top, but it did technically make a new all-time high, and it printed a blue dot. There was a lot of different conflicting signals into the market, which is common at market cycle tops. Tops are never really obvious. They're always convoluted, they're always confusing, they're always overwhelming and highly emotional. So what you saw was this blue dot print. At the same time, we broke out of the structure and we're above here. So now that we understand what this blue dot is and we understand, okay, it's coming pretty late in the game, right? This is 2025. Our market cycle top is supposed to be at some point during the middle to end of 25. This is something we've talked about for years. So what are we doing with the blue dot? Is this a sign of trouble to come? Like it was back in 21 when we randomly printed a blue dot, weeks and weeks before what ended up being our double top. Are we in a similar situation, or is this something unprecedented? Let's take a look, because when we printed this blue dot before, you can see that we had some failed rally in the RSI, right? This was our previous swing high, and we just had a massive failure leading into our double top. So when you look at the RSI and you say, oh, price is at an all-time high and the RSI is far from it, it's a problem. So what are we looking at now? Well, we know what happened in Christmas time, 24, and this is the area we're looking at, right? You look at this 78-ish area, we've got to get above that. We don't want to have a situation where we've got further bearish divergence, because look, it's already been going on for a while. You can see here, March 24, swing high. You can see here, Christmas time, lower high. While the indicators were lower high, price made a higher high, okay? In other words, if this divergence continues, you may see the RSI plummet from here and price go up for one last hurrah. If this thing truly turned bullish, we would not have continuation of bearish divergence. Instead, you would see the RSI take out this pivot high. We would continue to have structure on this white line, and we will skyrocket to a new all-time high, and potentially we will unveil what that number is in another chart. So make sure you subscribe for that. What are my thoughts about this blue dot? I want to get into this. So weeks and weeks ago, we were looking for a couple things. We got them all, and we got the blue dot. So what do we do now? What do we make of this blue dot? Well, with structure, we've got to respect this level, this white level here, this about 104,000. If Bitcoin remains holding support at 104,000, we've got good news, right? If Bitcoin starts to hold resistance at 104,000, it's going to show weakness into what was our first swing high and our second one in the course of the end of 24 and the beginning of 25. That's going to show a lot of weakness in the market, and we could be in some trouble. So it really comes down to that. Nobody in the world knows what's going to happen with certainty. But what we do know is right now we are showing signs of bullishness, not only in price action, but we got our blue dot, and we have recently broken out of this couple 100-day move here. So on the chart that we're looking at right here, there's not a whole lot of bearishness happening. There's good news here, there's good news here, and there's good news here. The bad news would be a continuation of bearish divergence, and the answers will lie in the market structure for price action. The altcoin market could be about to explode, but I have good news. If you're on my email list, go there now. I just released a brand new altcoin bonus video. And if you're not on my email list, go now before it's too late. CryptoCrewUniversity.com. It takes 2 seconds and you'll immediately unlock this week's brand new altcoin video. Go now.